Hello everybody. In this discussion, we are going to discuss how we can define, how is community defined by different social scientists. Community, the meaning of community is that it is actually a social group with a common territorial base and a shared sense of common interests and belonging. And it may also be said that the community is a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. Or we can say that the community is a social unit with commonality such as norms, religion, values, customs, or identity. Communities may share a sense of place in a given geographical area. For example, a country, it may be even village or a town or a neighborhood or a virtual space through communication platforms. So, community is a group of people living in a particular area having a particular characteristic or characteristics in common. Now, we'll see that there are various definitions given by some social scientists, and here we can name MacIver, who defines community as an area of social living marked by some degree of social coherence. He further says, I quote him, whenever the members of any group, small or large, living together in such a way that they share not this or that particular interests, but basic conditions of common life, we call the group a community. Now, it is very clear, and his definition is very clear regarding a community. He says it is an area of social living. That means they live together in a particular geographical area with some degree of social coherence or social unity. And it may be a group, it may be a small group, it may be a large group, but they live in such a way that they share not just one particular interest, but they together share the basic conditions of common life, and then we call that group of people a community. So his definition of a community is very clear. He has identified the characteristics of a community, and his definition clearly says that it is an area of social living marked by some degree of social coherence. Now, let us come to another social scientist. He was a German sociologist. He was also a philosopher, and he was also an economist, I believe. And he made a distinction between two forms of social grouping. And these two forms of social grouping are Gemeinschaft, spelling Gemeinschaft, and the Gesellschaft, Gesellschaft, which we roughly translate as community and association. Now, Gemeinschaft, that Ferdinand Tönnies speaks about, is a small community in which most people know each other. That means he has emphasized on the existence of a primary relationship in a small community. Interpersonal relations are close. People are oriented towards the interests and activities of the group as a whole, and they have a strong feeling of unity. People share the same values. That means they share the certain common cultural values. And social control. They have a system of social control over any deviance. It is a very interesting point. And this social deviance is exercised through informal means such as gossips, personal persuasion, and sometimes just reprimanding. Kinship ties means the kin relationships are very strong, and social life centers on the family. So, according to Ferdinand Tönnies, Gemeinschaft is a small community in which most people share a primary relationship where interpersonal relations are close and people are oriented towards the interests and activities of the group as a whole, and they have a strong sense of unity. So you see, this is a very important definition given by Ferdinand Tönnies regarding Gemeinschaft. Now, what is Gesellschaft? Gesellschaft, on the other hand, he says, contains a large population in which most people are strangers to one another. Relationships are impersonal. Tradition and custom no longer have a very strong influence on individual behavior, and kinship ceases to be the most important basis of social organization. So Gesellschaft is actually consists of very big or large population, which actually is, Ferdinand Tönnies does not call a community. He calls it association. So these are very important things which are observed by Ferdinand Tönnies. Now, Robert Redfield, another social scientist, he is from the field of anthropology, and he is from United States, and he worked in some villages of Mexico, ethnographic work. He did lots of ethnographic work, and he developed two concepts: the little tradition and the great tradition. And I think these two concepts given by Robert Redfield are mostly like Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft. The little tradition actually are small communities, and whereas the great tradition or great population are the large population or not a very united form of population on the basis of culture, and he called it a great tradition. Now, little tradition or little community is like a small community, and these are the concepts which are developed by some social scientists. So, in short, we can say that definition of a community actually centers around the community as an area of intimate social living, or intimate social living having some degree of social coherence, and they live in a geographical area, and they work not only for particular interest, but they share the basic conditions of common life. Thank you.